Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Stepping Up to the Plate. So glad you could join me. I'm Michael Vega, your host, and wanted to take a time out to recognize right off the bat some neighbors of mine with all that's going on here in Milton with the Wildcats in football, in volleyball, in soccer, and field hockey, all doing well. A fabulous weekend had by everyone here in Milton, including my neighbors Glenn and Cindy Deegan, who had a great time out at Parents Weekend over in Amherst, where they got to watch their daughter, Allie, a junior on the women's soccer team, score a decisive goal in a 2-0 win over Wesleyan in the NESCAC Championship. Congratulations to Allie. Allie was named a NESCAC Co-Player of the Week. So great honor for her. And now the Mammoths are on to the NCAA Division III tournament, and we wish them well. We wish Allie well, and of course, congrats to Glenn and Cindy. I know they're proud parents. Had a great time at Parents Weekend. And you know what? Fabulous weekend here in Milton. Forget about the Bruins. Forget about the Celtics. Forget about the Patriots. Come on now. We have the Milton Wildcats here just heating things up all over in volleyball. Al Mirabile took his team out to Burlington, and they won 3-2 on the road. Unbelievable win for the Wildcats. They were down 9-2 in the fifth and decisive set. Come back to win that 15-11. Sadly, they got knocked out in the next round versus the number one seed out at Westboro. But congrats to them for a great job, great season. 24 hours after the Milton High football team score a big win over Minneshaug, you have the field hockey team. Our own coach, Steve Dembowski, was there. He'll probably give some commentary on that in a sec. But field hockey, dramatic 3-2 victory in overtime. Megan Mylod with the winner for the field hockey. And then on Monday, another dramatic OT win at Brooks Field, where it was Chris Rhodes with the winner in overtime for the boys soccer team, 1-0 over East Longmeadow. Unbelievable. A lot of magic happening at Brooks Field. And now the Milton Wildcats, the number one seed in Division III, will host Marblehead, the magicians of the Northeast League, the Northeast Conference. And we're happy to have on the dais none other than Coach Steve Dembowski, head coach of the Milton Wildcats. Steve, thanks very much for joining us here today.
Thanks,
and we appreciate your support. Steve, congrats again on a unbelievable victory, in the first round. And of course, all season long, I mean, you get to this game 7-0, not by happenstance. It was, it seemed like from the very beginning of the season, the win against Scituate put you on a launching pad, and you had some tremendous wins. Holliston, you got the Framingham, a big win there. Huge win at home against Walpole. I know that was a tough week for you personally, and we want to, personally say, extending our condolences to you and your family for the tough loss you had that week. But unbelievable job you did. And then, of course, on to Weymouth. Needham, a big win there, with some unbelievable performances from Michael Fulton. I think he had 5 touchdown catches in that game. And, of course, big win at Natick, left no doubt. And then, of course, Minneshaug coming in 8-0 now. Your team is number one seed and looking to host Marblehead, a team that Phil Stacy of the Salem News described Steve Dembowski as a frenemy because they know him well up there from his days at Swampscott. So what can you tell us, Steve, about this team coming up? And we'll talk a little bit about the Minneshaug win.
Marblehead's the defending Division III state champions. They run a spread offense similar to us. They feature a very strong big arm quarterback in Miles O'Neill, who has the ability to run and throw, more of a passer with about 1,800 yards passing, 66% completion percentage type for the season. Big arm. Their number one guy is Connor Cronin, number 22. They use him, move him all around the formation. He'll run the ball. He's the number one receiver. He's a dynamic all-state type of football player, makes plays as a strong safety, and he's the guy that we just have to defend really well. And their other skill players are really well too. Our guys have done a lot of 7-on-7 with them in the offseason, usually in the winter, and they're very well coached. Jim Rudloff is a fantastic coach, and we have our work cut out for it. This isn't a good. I think they're 7-1, and to be an 8 seed, it's more because their league didn't have a good year.
Right.
So it's a tough draw, but it's an opportunity to play a good team at home. And our team has kind of risen to every challenge, and hopefully this week is the same.
And their only loss of the year so far was a 40-7 setback against Peabody. So it's a pretty formidable opponent to be facing here in the tournament. And obviously Milton posed a formidable challenge as well, as evidenced by the big win against Minneshaug, 46-21. You had some fabulous performances there from several people, most notably Jack Finnegan, who had 26 points scored, including 24 in a personal scoring tear that turned an 8-7 lead into a 32-7 halftime edge. And we have some highlights here, and Coach, we'll have you kind of chime in on some of the great highlights that we got from that game. Okay. Obviously, starting off with a bit of a shocker, with the big touchdown, a 70-yard touchdown that Minneshaug was able to get on this play here to their tight end, who kind of leaked out behind your coverage, and he was wide open.
Well, it's a play that they shifted into. It's called hide the Y, and you move an offensive lineman out to receiver to deceive the defense, and it worked.
And of course, Milton answered quickly here with a nice series. Luke Salmon getting him off to a great start with this big chunk play.
Yeah. So.
And then you have Owen back again finding Michael Fulton, another weapon, and this is a thing that this team is known for. They can score in a hurry. And here's the dual threat capability now of Owen McHugh on display.
Right. So Owen gets us down here to the 11. We're gonna bring motion against man coverage, and we get an easy completion to Fulton, who picks up a nice block from Shane Olson for a touchdown.
Yeah, that's Luke Salmon on that one. Yep. And then this is a pivotal play here, the 2-point conversion.
Yeah, early. If the kids have the option to run the swinging gate over to A.J. Cicerone, who pounds it in.
And then you have Ferris Collins with a big block punt here. That's a game changer right there.
Yeah, every time you block a punt, you pick up 60 yards, 30 down and 30 back. And that was a big play by Ferris because we didn't even have the block on.
And then Luke Salmon to the 10-yard line with a big completion, setting up this touchdown by none other Jack Finnegan. Yeah. He was untouched most of the day. It seemed like running between the tackles.
He was. The O-line did a really nice job right there, and he was able to bend that zone back, and their end just wasn't closing down on it.
So here it is. Now running tally, Jack Finnegan, he has 7 points. Great open field tackle there by Ben Caledonia.
Yep.
And then you have another great pressure and a pick by Jack Finnegan.
Yeah, it's
unbelievable.
His fifth of the year. Jack's really done a great job in coverage.
Second in as many games.
Yeah.
And here it is.
Yeah, we found a weakness in the way they were defending us. Here's Owen on a little run up the middle with Jack lead blocking. We really got it going well here, but, we missed a couple of throws we would have liked to have had, and then Jack line drives that one over the...
He told me that it came off his foot wrong, and he says it was lucky that it just got over the bar. It kind of snuck over.
It certainly did.
But here it is now then, Jack Finnegan on the move. The Jet Finnegan going for 71 yards on the touchdown. Yeah. Unbelievable. So now his tally is 10, 16, and here comes the 17th point. Bingo. Jack Finnegan now has scored 17 unanswered against.
Yeah. It's a nice job by Owen here, moving around some pressure and finding Mike Bolton down to the 1. And then Jack's going to be able to finish this drive right here behind Griffin White and Anderson Perez, Drew Kokoris.
23 points, and here comes 24. Bingo.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And now it's 32-7, the lead at the half. Now you start the second half with a comfortable margin. unbelievable catch there by Luke
Yeah.
to come back for it. And look at Dylan with the nice downfield blocking assistance.
Great effort by Dylan. Really good adjustment by Luke. We talked at halftime. They were playing a lot of man coverage about throwing back shoulder, underthrown balls.
Yeah.
We missed some throws in the first half that we would have liked to connect it on. And, Owen really came out in the second half that play. And then
Shane Olsen, unbelievable.
Yeah. Good movement in the pocket, kept his posture, and gave Shane a ball he could break on and go get.
Yeah.
And that was kind of lights out right there as Jack's kick here makes it 46-7.
Yep. And
The defense, the first group, really kept us rolling right here, and then we were able to get a lot of guys in the game.
yeah, and it was unbelievable. I mean, 26 points from Jack Finnegan. He was recognized as one of the Globe Players of the Week. Unbelievable performance from him, from everyone up and down. He credited his offensive line, for doing a great job. In fact, it's hard not to, because they did a tremendous job in controlling. And in looking at the development of your team, Steve, from week 1 to now, who would you say would be the team or the position or the player that has kind of been a revelation for you right now?
I would say the improvement of the offensive line, particularly just their cohesiveness, with first-year starters Griffin White, Josh Riccardi, and Liam Farity, those guys, and Anderson Perez too. I mean, their development around Drew Kokoris, who has experience, has been really big for us.
Yeah.
Ben Caledonia's flexibility, he can play outside linebacker in coverage. He can play against the run. He can blitz. So he's really been a blessing, because we have had some injuries in the linebacker core. We've been Henry Fallon's had a fantastic year for us. We can play him inside or outside.
Yeah.
So their development, and AJ Cicerone he's struggled with injuries, but when he's in there, he's explosive and powerful as an inside linebacker. So those guys, Ferris Collins is really coming on right now. You saw him block the punt.
He had a pick, I think.
Yeah. I mean, he's making plays, he's tackling, playing downhill at safety. So we do have a lot of competition on the team for playing time, but it also gives us a lot of flexibility with how we can build packages and use different kids in different weeks against different offenses and defenses. And we're just fortunate that the kids buy in. We don't care who scores. Like you said, Mike Fulton had, I think, 4 touchdowns against Needham, and Jack had 3 this week. And sometimes it's the way the defense plays you. Fulton had a ton of targets last week. Salmon had a ton of targets and catches last week, because Minichog was playing a particular kind of man coverage that allowed us to target him more. And you just kind of, I tell the kids, we don't care who scores, and I'm not keeping track.
Right.
We're just
going to the open man.
We're calling the plays that fit within our scheme, that we can attack the defense, and that the kids understand. I mean, I think the biggest thing is that kids have to understand what we're trying to do, and they've done a really good job doing that. And I think when you have a lot of seniors that have experience in your program and understand the language that you're speaking, it really goes well for the team. And
it seems like, Milton has had the similar, growth and development at the youth level, and we're seeing some of that to bear, because these guys, your seniors, have played together for quite some time now.
They have played together for a long time, and they've also run our system. They started learning the basics of our system when they were in 7th grade. And the youth program now does teach the majority of our kids the shotgun formation and the terminology that we use. Now, it's minor, it's a real small piece of what they do, and they don't have a lot of success all the time, even though our 4th grade team is still alive. But it allows kids to develop into the future Owen McHughes, into the future Mike Fultons, Dylan McKenzie, all these guys that played together and won together on the way up to us, have continued to win since they've been here.
And these guys have won now a state title in baseball. Some of them have. This summer they got together. They won the 7v7 New England championship. No small feat in my estimation. And I think that to me was a harbinger of things to come. And I'll ask you this: how has that kind of been brought to bear here? Those experiences, here this season. Do you think?
I think our kids like to compete. We feel comfortable in a passing game. I think there are teams that you can take away the run and they don't respond as well.
Right.
You see that in the NFL all the time, and we can do that. Owen can extend plays because of his athletic ability, and then throw the ball with touch to any of our guys. Our running backs catch the ball extremely well. I think Finnegan, Huey, Luke Hartford, those guys have caught balls out of the backfield and scored. Finney's knowledge of the offense, we can actually play him at receiver too if we needed to. These guys really love it, and that's makes us flexible, and we can adapt week to week, and put some window dressing on the schemes that we use to try to confuse our opponents or to take advantage of what they were doing. Minichug did some things last week defensively that we knew we had some opportunities to take some shots down the field, to Fulton, to Olsen, to Salmon particularly, and we hit some of those and we missed some of them, which it's high risk, high reward. But we also figured out we could run the zone play against them really well. And what do you know? Jack has 6 zones for like 110 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Unbelievable.
And one time I called a different run play once, and we messed up the blocking and got tackled for a loss. And I'm like, why? I'm just going to call it until they stop it,
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And now you have a chance to go up against a Marblehead team, as you mentioned, number 8 seed. I think, Steve, you are in their head already because you, of all the coaches that they will be facing in this tournament, are the one they probably didn't want to see because of your encyclopedic knowledge of them as an opponent, their system, what they do, how they do it, and their personnel. It's almost Belichickian, I think.
Well, their head coach, Jim Rudloff, is one of the top coaches on the North Shore. From a defensive scheme, offensive scheme, special teams, they do a fantastic job week in and week out. The Marblehead program is fantastic. Their youth program is fantastic. They've kept a lot of their best players. Will Quigley, who played for them, played at Brown, and then actually coached here 2 years ago during COVID, is now coaching with them with the defensive backs. Unbelievable high school player that was a pain for us. They had a kid named Brooks Terrell who ran by me on the sidelines multiple times, who played lacrosse at Notre Dame, Division I, the highest level. Unbelievable running back. They've had Division I offensive linemen. They've had great linebackers. I think their linebacker coach played at St. A's, and he's back coaching with them. So they have a program that produces great players. Their latest great player, this kid Connor Cronin, is a first-team All-State, a Globe All-Scholastic type kid that at 6'1", probably 200 pounds, plays running back, plays receiver, plays strong safety, returns the punts. I mean, he's a dynamic player that we need to do a great job with. And they have a future budding star in Miles O'Neill, a quarterback who I think has 19 touchdown passes and 5 interceptions, about 1,800 yards. He is, 6'4", about 215 pounds. He's a big, strong kid, throws the ball with great mechanics, worked with him at a quarterback camp a few years back. And they're going to put him in a spot to make plays. They have a lot of speed at the receiver spots, and then you're obviously trying to deal and know where Cronin is. But they have the other guys that can hurt you too.
Yeah, it seems like an unbelievable matchup, almost a mirror image.
Yes.
Cronin is sounds like a little bit of like a Jack Finnegan for you in terms of, a dynamic playmaker that you put the ball in his hands, he can go to the house.
Yeah.
And you could do it in multiple ways.
Well, Cronin plays the position that Dylan plays in our offense, but we don't use Dylan as a running back because that's not in his skill set.
Right.
If we played Jack there, we could have done something like that. But this kid is they move him all around their formations. They use probably 10 to 12 formations a game, and then they also motion into the formation. So they're very well coached. It's going to be a challenge for our guys. Even if we get to the quarterback, we've got to bring him down. He's a big, strong kid.
That's gonna be tough.
So it's one of those things where we're probably playing a team that's underseeded, but at least we're playing them at home. So we need the home crowd to come out and support the team. We need to continue to play well and take care of the football, win the turnover battle, be solid on special teams there, and and play our best defense. I think that will be the key.
That's going to be huge. I mean, you've got a lot of weapons to contend with. O'Neal, and of course, his great receiver target that they're going to. It's interesting. I mean, not a lot of teams play too high defense against each other. In high school. But what if you were to throw a wrinkle like that at that kid and all of a sudden?
We're going to play a lot of too high. I mean, our basic scheme is with two safeties, and so is theirs.
Yeah.
Peabody threw the ball all over them in a different style than we do. A lot of crazy RPOs, and Peabody had a magical night that night. The game got away from Marblehead quickly, which is unusual.
Yeah.
So that game is really an outlier. The team that gave them a great game was Linfield. They did it by. They had a defensive score. They had a goal line stand. They did a really great job stopping the run and making it just a passing game. Wow. So we need to do things like that to have control and be balanced with the run and the pass and distribute the ball to our guys. So it's a great challenge, and that's what the tournament is. These teams that are still left, I think the most. Hanover has 2 losses. Everybody else has 1 or none.
Yeah.
So it's these top 8 teams in Division III are all capable of making a run here to Gillette, and it's one day at a time. Survive in advance and be sound in everything that we do.
And it's amazing. 8-0 now on the season. They're your top seed, and as Coach Dembowski mentioned, they're at home this week against Marblehead, a formidable opponent, and it's going to require everyone in this community to get out there. Brooksfield. Now remember, it's a 6 o'clock start, not a 7 o'clock. So that's going to require you to get out there 5 o'clock, get your tailgate going, get yourself, good lathered up, and get ready because Marblehead will be coming down en masse. They'll be bringing a lot of people, won't they?
There's going to be this will be a parking lot closure tonight on Friday night. There's no doubt that they will bring a lot of people from the North Shore will come. Had several media requests from the North Shore. Because of the rivalry that I have with them, and as I've told the players, this is all about them. When you get into the tournament, this phase of the season, what we've done in the past doesn't matter. It's really how we prepare and how we play, and once it's done, we're on to the next matchup. So this is the challenging matchup. It's like looking in the mirror, and
very much
we're very similar in how our numbers match up, how our players match up. So we need to. Just hold serve at home.
Well, this could be a fireworks display on Friday night.
I hope not.
What kind of game are you? I mean, I know that the type of game you'd be comfortable with is that you get them into a track meet. Oftentimes, you get a team into a track meet. That's the game you're going to run away with. But this is a team that can keep pace. It seems like.
Yeah, they can score without a doubt. They haven't. I think the key for us to hold them down is not to let them run the football. So they're going to make some plays. They're really good, and we need to, even some of their closer games. Their 28-7 win over Masconomet, their 26-18 win over Linfield. Those are games where they didn't run the ball well, and those teams had a chance well into the fourth quarter.
Okay.
I mean, Linfield had the ball at the 20-yard line twice in the fourth quarter and couldn't get the tying touchdown. Masconomet was 7-7 in the third period,
wow.
and Marblehead put them away in the fourth with two deep seam passes to Connor Cronin in one-on-one coverage. So, we need to stop the run and make it a passing scrimmage, and hopefully our side of the ball we can still maintain some balance and distribute the ball to our players equally.
Right. You don't want to get off schedule. You want to be behind schedule. Just stay on schedule, and then that opens up the things.
And have patience too. We'd like to obviously control the ball. We don't want to let them run 60 or 70 plays while we run 40.
Right.
We'd like to flip that and probably us run more plays than they run, so that they have a lot of players playing both ways. We have I think 3 that primarily play both ways.
Up front. Mostly.
Yeah. So it's Liam Farity, Griffin White, Anderson Perez plays a fair amount both ways. and obviously Jack Finnegan.
Yeah.
And then, you know, the other guys play sparingly as needed and situationally.
Yeah. And so, again, it's going to be an unbelievable, you know, environment, atmosphere. We'll see if the magic continues for Milton at Brooks Field, where everyone seems to have won here, donning a Wildcat uniform in this playoffs. As I mentioned, a 4-0 start for Milton for the not just the football team. Field hockey had a great win. You were there.
Awesome win.
You were there, weren't you?
I was. My wife Kristen and I, we went up to see the field hockey team. Lindsay Scully's done an awesome job with the program. They were in a 1-0 game in the third period. Fourth period, North Attleboro makes it 2-1, and we're like, oh.
Yeah.
And we rallied for 2 goals. The second one with 46 seconds left to tie. The place was electric, and it was thrilling. We went to overtime. They go to 7v7 on the field.
Wow.
And it goes back and forth, and we get it down their end. I think Natalie Vaughn gets it across.
And Megan Mylod scores.
It was great environment, great win for the girls, really showing the progress of the field hockey team.
Yeah.
I was so thrilled to see them, so impressed with how hard they played, their conditioning, then there was no panic. It was just great.
Yeah, and here we are, you know, your football coach. He's out at a field hockey. To be congratulated for that, Steve. But we want to also thank you very much for coming in, for spending some time with us, dropping some knowledge about Marblehead. You know, and I'm sure they're kind of like worried about, you know, Steve being on the other side, but we're happy he's on our side. All righty, pal.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks very much. Good luck to you and the Wildcats. And we want to thank you for spending your time here with us on Stepping Up to the Plate. And reminding you, get out to Brooks Field, 6 o'clock, Friday night. All right, let's make it happen. All right, everybody, we'll see you. Take care.